the team that had the best draft was the.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Listen, no.
I don't know.
Listen,
That was
draft.
a bad draft, in my opinion.
Okay, you guys didn't
But
even
let's
watch.
see what Time Traveler
Okay.
says.
Which team had the best draft? So, Jonathan, you can't say the Cowboys, and Caleb, you can't say the Eagles.
All right, what if it's the right answer though?
All right, the Eagles might be the right answer, but Cowboys, there's no shot they were the best.
No, Jonathan, please.
There's no shot.
Eagles actually have whatever. Let's ask the question.
Eagles, I can forgive. Which team had the best draft? In my opinion, so last year, it's pretty funny. I had the Jets as like the best and the Seahawks as the worst. And I actually think the Seahawks have come out of the woodworks as the best draft team.
Really?
This year, they got, in my opinion, number one receiver off the board, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got the number one cornerback off the board, Devin Witherspoon.
Wow.
They got Derek Hall, who's a low-key edge to linebacker guy, but he's very, very fast. And you got to think, they picked up Devin Bush this year in free agency. Devin Bush, very fast linebacker. Tyreek Woodland, very, very fast cornerback. You see what they're trying to do here. And he was a captain, so he's got the intangibles that you need for a linebacker position. They drafted one of my favorite running backs, Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. He was my top 3 running back on the board. I honestly love that he can split carries with Kenneth Walker. He split carries at Michigan his freshman year with Hassan Haskins, who was now an NFL running back. And he actually set the record for most rushing touchdowns at Michigan for a freshman. So, and he rushed for 726 yards that year on a team that wasn't really that great. So he is no stranger to splitting carries, but when he splits the carries, he makes the most of it. And then they got the center of the year, Olu Oluwatimi from Michigan. He literally won best center. I'm not even being biased. He
How
won
is that possible?
best center.
Yeah, how's that possible?
How's he a 5th round guy and he's the best center, and then a center was picked top 20?
That's my only question, but if there's a title for it, then I give it to you.
It's just like Jalen Hyatt winning receiver of the year, and he goes 2nd round behind 3 or 4 receivers. So you're getting great value.
It's not like a JD Power
Smith
award.
won the Heisman and didn't win best receiver.
No, he did. He
Okay.
did.
Okay, good.
It's not like a JD Power award where they're just giving them out for anything.
Yeah.
It gets off the lot. The windows roll
It's
down.
all paid for.
Initial quality. It works for the first 10 days.
JD Power.
No, this is a real thing, though. Okay.
So overall, I literally gave them an A+. I think they nailed the top picks that they needed to and got great value from where they were drafting at. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think Smith and Chigba is going to be great, pairing him with Lockett and Metcalf. I was a little bit surprised by that, but obviously Lockett is getting a little bit older, so adding JSN won't hurt that scenario. Witherspoon, great cornerback, opposite of Woolen, like you said. And then I like what you said about Hall, adding a piece there, some depth at linebacker, and Charbonnet helping out with Walker. I agree with you. I think they got some great pieces.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Smith and Jigba is not going to be an immediate starter." That's a lie.
Oh,
if you guys have seen his tape, he's consistent. They're going to throw him the ball like often. He's going to catch the ball. Whether they're doubling DK or whatever, he's always going to find a way to be open. He runs great routes. That's part of the reason why he was the first receiver taken. So it's going to be great to see him play.
And in the interviews, someone asked if he was worried about Lockett playing slot, and he's more of a slot guy.
Yeah.
And he just straight up said, he's like, at the end of the day, I'm a receiver. You can put me anywhere.
No matter where, he's going to get open.
And that's the real truth of it, is like,
right.
he's gonna catch balls. I mean, that's just what he does. So at the end of the day, he's a receiver. You put him anywhere and he's fine.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray's high school was Allen High School in Texas, and he graduated. I mean, obviously many years ago, but just Google Rockwall High School, Jackson Smith-Jigba versus Allen. He had a great game, legendary game. That's part of the reason why he probably went to Ohio State. You'll see how great this guy is. He's a Texas football legend. That was in AT&T Stadium, so he's gonna probably do that every time he gets into Jerry's World. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Who wants to? Yeah, you want to go?
Well, I'll bounce off that just to add. So I'm gonna pick the Eagles as A plus, but my honestly my other A plus and my personal like that I would have accepted from myself as an answer would have been the Seahawks. Just to add on to it, just because they had 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks, and it doesn't seem
that crazy?
Which is good on the management. Carroll getting like they didn't waste any of them. It seems like, again, no one knows. Time will tell. But I like how well-rounded it was and how high the potential's ceilings for these positions are. Like they were strategic, and it almost went like defense, offense to build around a pretty good. Like already with Smith, already pieces with the wide receiver. Walker was great. So adding depth and variety in the offense, but then reinforcing the D-line and I mean the defense in general. So they didn't waste anything. I mean, enough's been said about the Eagles. I do think if you're considering the draft being like how well positioned are you to win the Super Bowl this year, I think the Eagles probably have the best argument. Maybe the Chiefs didn't have the flashiest, but again, they also are the Chiefs. And how many of their rookies showed up in the Super Bowl last year? And then how many people picked them as the best draft, last year? So it's like, who knows, right? But I would say if you consider it that, I do think the Eagles are probably up there, but the Seahawks I personally would have taken as A+ as well.
I would agree. I would probably give them an A+. I think they just had the luxury of taking these players that they already have veteran guys that are still good, and they just have the luxury of drafting these guys and being able to develop them.
That wide receiver core is going to be a problem for teams because they needed a third guy to just open things up a little bit, and they have it now. I will say, I think it was Pro Football Focus, take it with a grain of salt. They had 5 teams to get A+. The Seahawks were not one of them. Interestingly enough, I kind of disagree.
Yeah,
I disagree with that.
Sean, sorry, did you go or
no? I have a feeling we're gonna have the same team, so you could say
okay.
I mean, I sort of have a tiebreaker. Is that okay, or do I have to?
Who's the tiebreaker with?
I mean, it's not Cowboys.
Okay.
It's teams in the same division.
Okay,
it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm gonna say this team first. I think this team really impressed me. It really threw a lot of people off guard. The Houston Texans.
Oh.
They had the best draft. Okay,
they had a good draft.
They didn't listen to the media.
It had to be a Texas team, didn't it?
They didn't listen to the media. They didn't listen to the media talking about C.J. Stroud's test scores and all that baloney. He can play the ball. I mean, he can play football.
He's not going to be taking tests in the NFL.
Exactly.
He's throwing the ball.
Such a weird.
And he was scared about that. He thought he was going to fall a little bit later because of that. So that's why he's emotional when he got picked. So even though he's from Ohio State and the quarterbacks tend to sort of struggle in the NFL, Justin Fields, I think he's struggling even though they score touchdowns here and there. I don't know why people kind of I think he's overrated. Justin Fields is. Anyway, high to quarterbacks, they do struggle in the NFL, but I think C.J. Stroud, he has potential to be great and turn that franchise around. But I would say what made this Houston Texans draft great was that trade they did. After they picked C.J. Stroud number 2, they traded with the Cardinals and got the number 3 pick, and they picked Will Anderson. I think he was the best defensive prospect in the draft, not Jalen Carter. And if you watch any of Alabama's games, this guy's a captain. This guy's the leader. This guy is the one that brings defense together and makes the plays. It's Will Anderson, and I think he's going to turn this franchise around with I don't know, I forgot the coach's name. With
DeMeco Ryans.
DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah. Love him, defensive guy.
Exactly.
He was an Eagles guy.
He's a defensive guy, and so I think
an Eagles guy. Forget that.
Brushed over that.
Oh yeah, he came from the 49ers. He's a 49ers defensive coordinator. So I'm glad he left the 49ers. So hopefully the nice guy sucks. That's for the Cowboys.
It all goes back to the Cowboys.
Yeah, but I
Eagles,
think
I guess.
I think he's really excited about this pick. He's going to use him to do a lot of great things. This guy's smart, and again, starting Alabama is tough as it is, and this guy was like a dominant Alabama. Nick Saban loved him, so that's great. I'll say that's the main reason why I say they won the draft. They did select another Alabama linebacker later on, Henry Tuoto or whatever.
He's very good.
He's very good too. I'm surprised he got drafted that late. Maybe because of size or something. But I think he's another great player for the Houston Texans. So I think those few picks are culture changers for that franchise. That's what they need. They need players like this. They need dominant players like this. So Houston Texans, I think, are one of the teams that won the draft. Then another team that was leading the media, along a straight path.
Astray.
Exactly. The past few weeks, saying, "Oh, we're going to draft Will Levis." Like they're trying to create rumors, fake rumors that they're going to draft Will Levis. The Indianapolis Colts, they drafted Anthony Richardson.
That guy,
was good. Yes. This guy is going to be great. This guy's going to be great.
Not initially, though. Not initially.
Maybe not initially, but this guy's the best quarterback prospect we've ever seen. Okay.
What?
4.4. He ran a 4.4.
What?
He is a great broad jump.
Athletics-wise.
Athletics-wise, yes. Athletics-wise, he's the best quarterback prospect.
Have you seen his accuracy?
He's getting better, but if you go back and watch his Florida film, go back and watch his Florida film, this guy was electric. Okay. They beat Utah State. Utah State had a great team. They beat Utah State in a clinching game.
You mean Utah University?
Was it Utah or Utah University?
Utah State?
Sorry, the
whichever
UTs.
one was the better one.
The UTs, yeah, Utah. I mean, Utah.
The better team.
University of Utah, the better team. You know what I'm talking
about.
The Utes, exactly. Yeah. And so, turn on the film. This guy's electric, okay? And the NFL needs guys like this. This guy,
he's going to be fun to watch.
He's going to be fun to watch. If you want to compare him to another player, look at Jalen Hurts. But this guy's probably more like the Jalen Hurts. Well, Cam Newton wasn't this fast. Cam Newton ran a 4.6. This guy runs a 4.4. He's not going to get a first down. He's going to score. This guy's going to score. And so at that too, he's still pretty young. He's only played 13 games, so he needs to get football smart and know how to read the open guys and stuff like that. But I think the Indianapolis Colts, they did really good in deceiving people and getting him. But the Indianapolis Colts, they also got like 11 more picks, for some reason in this draft because of trades and stuff. So I think, they got a few DBs here and there, a few receivers. I think they basically got, 11 starters in this one draft. But no, I think I'm really proud of what the Colts did. They also changed their franchise. So having
Colts had an A+ too from Pro Football Focus.
Exactly. So I think the Colts and Houston Texans did good.
And if Jonathan Taylor is back to his old form, that's some RPO action right there.
Well,
Oh yeah, for sure.
You mentioned Hurts in that, and I believe Shane Steichen was an Eagles coordinator.
Exactly.
The offensive coordinator.
I like actually
Pat McAfee.
That's going to be great.
Pat McAfee's excited about that. Yeah, he's excited.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I like the Hurts comparison more than the Newton one, but time will tell, like you said. But with that combo, with the actually having been a coordinator for the Eagles, like it might get some similar. I mean, the Eagles offense is already so much fun to watch, and like you said, Jared, like they have some key pieces there. They'll be a scary team in a year or two for sure. But let's see, the season might be interesting too with what they're building for it. But no, I a lot of the quarter, like the top 3 picks are going to come down to how those guys turn out. To truly, and I like them all. I've heard Stroud, Richardson were like. It depends how you look at it, but it really the fate of how well we'll look back on this draft is how those 3 guys turn out.
Yeah, I love Young, but honestly, even as a Michigan fan, this is the most I've liked an Ohio State quarterback. Since Fields, since Dwayne Haskins, and since Cardale Jones, like all these guys, JT Barrett. This is the one that I feel like is the most mature and the most polished, I believe. I don't know. I feel like he's got like his intangibles and his mental is, I think, way farther along. Even though he got the cognitive stuff wrong, but I feel like as a maturity, as a person, as a man, I feel like he's way further along because he did lose to Michigan twice. Hasn't won a championship, a Big Ten. He hasn't won anything, and that's something we haven't seen as out of an Ohio State quarterback in years. They've all at least won the Big Ten championship, and this guy he only won, I think, a Rose Bowl, which some people may not even care about. So he's got a chip on his shoulder for the first. Ohio State quarterback has a chip on his shoulder for the first time in a long time. I like him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he jumped Bryce Young for Rookie of the Year.
No.
Well, I think
plus pick second.
I know. Chip
on the shoulder.
Yeah, I know. I said Anthony Richardson has high upside, but let me just tell you, if you're looking at quarterbacks that are really smart and know how to find the open receiver always, I think Bryce Young's going to be great.
Yes. Yep.
I think Bryce Young is going to be great, even though he's small. I watched all his games. This guy's always going to find that open guy. He knows football. He understands the game. This guy's probably going to be one of the best quarterbacks in history.
He's going to be one of the best in the NFC in the next 5 years.
Yeah,
that's troubling.
At
Am I
least.
right in the understanding that like was it
troubling.
Young that was like probably I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because you guys know more about college football than me, but like one of them was more ready now. Another one, I think it was Stroud. It was like potentially higher ceiling. I know no one knows, but was that about right with Young and Stroud? Maybe Richardson too.
It seemed like people were undervaluing Young because his height.
Exactly,
at
his
one
size.
point.
How tall
That
is
was
he?
the biggest thing.
He's probably my
like,
height.
Yeah, he's like
How tall are you?
He's like
I'm
5'9",
5'11".
5'10".
I'm like 5'11" and 3/4. I say 6 foot.
hang
At least you can see down the field. You can see down the field. Who cares?
Yeah, he says it's like 5'10".
Yeah,
Eh.
but he
So
like
I mean,
he's
that's
good at
small. But I mean, Kyler Murray's small. I think you'd have to just worry about injury. Kyler Murray has no problem throwing the ball.
Yeah,
it's
the
more
biggest
just getting
problem
hit.
is that he's
very
how many-
light.
Yeah, how many? He's only 180 or something.
How tall was
He's
Drew
very
Brees?
light.
6
so.
foot. Dang, Drew Brees was considered small, and he was 6 feet.
Yeah. But I
Interesting.
mean, overall, I think Texans did great overall.
Yeah.
I mean, and I also agree with trading up, getting Will Anderson. If those are the two guys you wanted, and you interview both, and you're like, I like Stroud, but I really like Will Anderson. Which one are we gonna pick? Pick them both. Who cares? Trade your picks, trade anything, because if this was a really good draft. It was a very, I think, top heavy draft. And so if you like Will Anderson and you like C.J. Stroud, you might as well get him now.
Do you guys think
but-
they got their Watt with Anderson?
Yeah.
Because maybe that they're like, that's a franchise. We want a defensive captain.
I wouldn't say he's like a.
And they got
JJ or
Derek
TJ,
Stingley.
but
Their
Yeah, he's
defense
good.
is starting to be good. John, who's your top guy? Was it any or top team? Is it anybody that we've mentioned?
No, I thought Jonathan was going to mention them, but I think I'm going to be the only one to mention this team.
the Cowboys. Are you
no.
serious? You could
Start with
have.
an S.
The team
That's
that
crazy.
had the best draft was the Detroit Lions. Obviously,
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Listen, no.
I don't know.
Listen, you didn't even look at their draft. Let me explain it to you.
Please.
Pull up
That
their
was a
draft.
bad draft, in my opinion.
Okay, you guys didn't
But
even
let's
watch.
see what Time Traveler
Okay.
says, because I'm a little bit.
Guys, did you
Derek
realize they
as
had
well.
6 picks in the top 3 rounds? That means they had 2 picks in the first round.
And they screwed
two-
up a lot of them.
2 in the second round, 2 in the third. They got Jahmyr Gibbs, who, in my opinion, is one of the best players in the draft period, regardless of position. Wait until you see him play. Now that DeAndre Swift is gone, him and David Montgomery are going to be the guys, and I think Gibbs is going to end up being the starter. They got Jack Campbell, who's an interior linebacker, inside linebacker out of Iowa. He's strong. He's not that fast, but he's a big guy. They
I
need
showed
help
you
on
the
defensive
highlight,
side.
John. I showed you the highlight.
That was
you
one
still think he's good?
One highlight. And then they went back and got another Iowa guy, Sam Laporta, a tight end. I think he's good. He's going to try to fill that role of TJ Hawkinson, which I think he can do. I don't think he's going to be as good as Hawkinson this year, but maybe next year he has the potential to be that. They got Brian Branch, safety from Alabama. He was a very good safety at Alabama.
I like that one.
Then they got Hendon Hooker, quarterback. That's going to be great from Tennessee.
Don't like
He
that.
tore his ACL. He's not going to play this year. But next couple of years, if anything happens to Goff or anything like that, Hooker's going to be there. And then they got Broderick Martin, Western Kentucky. I don't really know him, but he's a defensive tackle. So they spent 3 of their picks on defense and 3 of their picks on offense in the first 6 picks, all in the first 3 rounds. So I think they had a great draft. I mean, Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, and Branch, those top 4 guys, they're going to be immediate starters. And
I could ask the Cowboys the same question. Do you think it was good for them to pick Laporta over Michael Mayer?
I mean, I think Mayer was better. So I disagree with both the Cowboys and the Lions here. That's why I wouldn't give the Lions A+, but I don't know. I guess there must be something these teams are seeing in Mayer that's not.
Dan Campbell is a rough guy. He likes people that are a little kooky in the head. That's Iowa.
Yeah,
Iowa
what's better
guys,
than Iowa and Alabama?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mayer. He's probably not a good blocker, right? He probably can receive pretty good,
he's
right?
Probably.
Right. And so that's probably it. But yeah, it was interesting to get Hendon Hooker, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Hendon Hooker. I liked him at Tennessee, but I don't think he can convert to
I mean,
Me either.
give him a few years.
Yeah,
though.
me either.
Give
I
him
can't.
A few
I don't think
years.
Yeah,
I think Hyatt made him look really good, especially against
I
Alabama.
think
that was just a wasted pick, in my opinion.
I'm curious about that one because you watch about how people reacted to Mahomes' draft. He was not as big he was more of a question mark back then. Like people were like, yeah, give him a couple of years. So you never know.
Hooker was very immobile, and then he tore his ACL. So like now he's really gonna. He just stands still in the pocket.
Yeah,
he
but so does Goff.
His feet.
They have the offense for just a standstill guy.
Burrow, if they're not his style, if he has to change his style, it's different. But if he's already immobile, then
they want more than Goff though. And in my opinion, I would want someone more than Goff to be able to extend.
Who are you
gonna
get? All right, tell me a quarterback in the third round that you could have.
No, I don't think they should have drafted a quarterback.
They should have.
Just a waste.
Yeah, I think it was a waste as well.
A waste. Give the guy a chance.
How about? I mean, receiver, I felt was a need because Jamison Williams is going to be gone for 6 games for gambling. So
yeah,
they got Marvin Jones back from
the and then
Jaguars.
Amon-Ra.
Yeah, they got Marvin Jones, Amon-Ra.
Oh, okay.
So you think with Branch and Campbell they have solved a lot of their defense problems from last year?
I don't think they solved, but I do think that's going to help. I mean, their defense is still a long way, in my opinion, because all they really have is Hutch. So it's like, it's gonna help.
I respect your ranking. I think it's my hesitation is the biggest reach as far as we can see now. Like compared to the Seahawks having 4 in the first and second as well. As far as who knows? We could be no one knows, but it seems like the Seahawks were. For the position and for the rank they were at and who they got, it was like less of a reach. Whereas the Lions, it might be as well as, but you don't know, but you don't know. So I respect it.
So how about for teams that had the worst draft? I'll start. I had the Jets.
Whoa.
I didn't give them a complete F. I just wanted to be nice. But I gave him a D-. I think it was a huge reach with Will McDonald, defensive end, edge rusher. He was seen as like the 6th or 7th best edge rusher consensus. And they could have gotten Myles Murphy, who went to the Bengals and by many was top 3, if not top 2, edge rusher. So I think if you were going to go edge, which I don't even think they should have, they could have gotten Myles Murphy, or they could have gotten Nolan Smith, who is an edge guy, and he was like the fastest edge out of that top tier bunch. So you could have got Nolan Smith. I think just at the position, if they were going to pick McDonald and they liked him, I would have liked to see them trade back, in my opinion. They got Joe Tippmann, a center, with their 2nd round pick.
It's
Wisconsin.
Pick.
It's. I said fine.
But D-.
It's
not like worse than fine.
Well, no, for that pick, it's like fine. It's just like meh. Because listen, to what I'm saying here. If you need center, why not wait until Olu, who was the best center in college football, and draft him?
Well, that was
I just think for the value,
5th round though.
I think, but I think this is
Tippmann
a reach again.
was the consensus number 1 center.
Which
for NFL.
Out of the whole draft, he was.
But the 5th round guy was the college era. Number 1. Interesting. Yeah. Still interesting.
It's Wisconsin. You can't go wrong with offensive linemen from Wisconsin. Nice. So I was like, eh. Then they got another offensive tackle from Pitt, which isn't that they probably is going to be development
protect
3 or 4 years.
What?
Yeah, but he's not good. If you really want to protect Rodgers, get him with your 1st round pick. Not wait until your 4th round and then you get this random guy from Pitt who wasn't even ranked high at all. He was below top 10. And then they got linebacker, DB, tight end. The one pick I do kind of like, Israeli. I can't say his last name, but he's a running back from Pitt. He led Abanaconda. He led the league in rushing touchdowns. He had 20. So I think while Bryce Young is still recovering from his torn ACL. Wait, who did I say?
Bryce Young. I was like, wait, is he injured?
I was like,
Too many B names. Too many B names.
There's a lot of Jalen's in this draft too.
Yeah, when Breece Hall is waiting to come back, I think at the depth at running back position is much needed. I personally would have liked someone who could, maybe receive a little bit more. Israeli doesn't really receive too much.
They have Michael Carter and Bam Knight.
Yeah, Bam Knight was bad at the end of the season, and Michael Carter's Michael Carter. Like, help me out here, man.
What do you want him to do? Like, trade everything for
last?
He had some good weeks. He was one of the top receivers a couple weeks, I think. Carter.
Last year, they drafted both Rookie of the Year's offensive defense. They were big name. They got Johnson, the edge rusher, with their late first-round pick. It was just like, bam, 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 like big name after big name. Then they get Aaron Rodgers, and you think, all right, maybe they'll protect him. Their defense was fine. And then they take defense first round. I just don't see it. And then, not to mention, where are the receivers?
Yeah,
you're gonna rock with Corey Davis.
Did you realize who they got though?
Who did they get? Lazard,
Mecole Hardman, Garrett Wilson.
All these guys, they don't move me. They don't move me.
Rodgers almost made the playoffs with literally Christian Watson. I think Garrett Wilson's better than any.
Yeah, but he had Lazard, and Lazard, you can say he did not have a great season.
But did he have Breece Hall?
He's not going to have Breece Hall for 6-some games. That's what I'm saying.
But his defense is way better than what he had on the Packers.
Agreed. So why draft? Why wouldn't you draft an offensive tackle or receiver?
No, I agree with you.
Or something to help Rodgers.
I agree with all their picks except the first pick. I agree with you there. Why if their defense is the best part of the team, why?
The issue comes for me is by the time you get to Carter Warren, the offensive tackle from Pitt, it's round 4, and now you're like, all right, I guess we should probably do something. That I think it should have been first overall offensive tackle.
Dude, what if they
get the center?
What if they went Jackson Smith and Jigba at 15?
Right. You see what I'm saying here? That moves me. That moves the needle a little bit. You look at all these names, it's just...
You sound like a director. Like that performance isn't moving me.
I mean, talk about Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. It's like, holy, okay, they're ready to win. And then you get Aaron Rodgers, and you're like, okay, what else are we getting here? What else? And then they do this, and you're like, there's no Rookie of the Years in that one. For sure, there's not any. And I could confidently say that. So it was a flat, just bad draft overall for me.
Interesting. I would say the team that had the worst draft was the San Francisco 49ers. Their first pick was the 87th pick. They drafted a safety from Penn State. First of all, what do you draft in a safety from the Big Ten for? Okay, they don't cover anybody.
Oh,
and to add
wait a minute! Whoa! I won't take disrespect from the Big Ten because how about wide receiver Ohio State, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson?
I mean, it was easy for them because they don't like the defensive backs suck. That's
Marvin Harrison Jr.
They make them look good. They make them look good because they suck. Everybody knows it. If they
Ohio, whoa!
If they're in the Big 12, defensive backs will then get those easy touchdowns. You know
Continue.
that. Yeah.
The Big 12 sucks. Their defense is known to be terrible.
Oh no,
that's why every game is like 50 to 51.
That's because
Big 10 has Iowa and Michigan and Wisconsin.
Yeah, there are better defenses there.
Come on.
The better defenses in the front, like in terms of the defensive linemen, the linebackers, secondary.
That is
Denzel
true,
Ward, Ohio State. DJ Turner, Jordan Lewis, Michigan.
Jordan Lewis, where is he now?
Jabril Peppers. Jordan Lewis
sucks.
is on your own team. He's on your own team.
Exactly. We lost with
You're
49ers.
You're gonna talk bad about your own team.
Well, he hasn't helped us. Like, we're trying to get the Super Bowl. And so,
all right, continue.
Yeah, so they drafted a safety from the Big Ten, Penn State. Okay, that was a question mark. And he ran a 4.65. He's not fast. He's small, 5'11", 200. So your first pick in the draft, you draft this guy. That didn't make any sense to me. Second pick, let's see if you can make amends to that. They draft a kicker. A kicker? Jake Moody?
Watch it, Jonathan.
No. Jake Moody from sorry,
Big Ten.
Big Ten. Yeah, I mean,
He's one of your men, right?
Jake Moody won Kicker of the Year,
he
has the most kicks through the uprights in Michigan history.
I understand that.
In Michigan history, we have the most wins in college football history. This guy has kicked the most field goals. He scored the most points of any player in Michigan history.
Yeah, but he probably could have been available in like later rounds.
Yeah,
like,
he would have been available 2 rounds
No,
later.
that didn't make any sense.
He was a hot commodity. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, everybody
On
looked at him
kickers,
like, huh?
you could let him get picked by
And
another team and then get dropped.
They lost Robbie Gold, so this pick you're set for at least 10 years.
Yeah,
That's what
I
we
think it was
thought
wasted
with Younghoe Koo.
Yeah.
Thought the Chargers would be set for the next 10 years.
Younghoe Koo was not drafted. He was undrafted, kicking Instagram reel backflip kicks.
And then to add on top of that,
street.
to add on top of that, 2 picks later, they had 2 picks later. They picked an Alabama tight end. His name's Cameron Latu. Now I watched a lot of Alabama games. I never heard of this guy. That should tell you a lot. Why would you pick a random tight end from Alabama?
I think it's random. But...
like so far it was they're having like a. I was giving an F before that. I was giving
a
like
mental
F.
lapse.
Yeah, like what are you guys doing? It seemed like they want to be there. They were just picking anybody. Like, all right, who's next?
Mind you, you live in San Francisco.
They put auto draft on.
Yeah, exactly. Auto draft. Yeah, like, let's just see what happens.
That explains the kicker choice.
Yeah, I mean,
they have one of those AIs calling the players like when it's time to pick. It's an AI generated conversation.
They're running out of time.
Yeah, and then they
you better watch yourself. You live in San Francisco, and hopefully nobody lives in San Francisco.
They're annoying right now because Warriors won. I mean, anyways, I don't get annoyed because the Kings should have won the series. The Kings should have won that. Mike Brown, take Sabonis out of the game. Anyways, that's another conversation for another day.
Curry just wouldn't miss.
Yeah, but take Sabonis out of the game.
Why?
Like, he's missing everything. He's missing everything. The first half he's doing good, but
he's going to put in instead.
His backup. Like do what they do. No, do what they do what they did last game. Do what they did last game. Like when Sabonis was out, they were able to spread the floor and all that. I mean, they were doing better. Do the same thing.
Fox wasn't really making.
Hey! Wait!
Anyways,
wait, what was their last pick? What was their last?
Okay,
pick?
sorry. I mean, and then the next pick was a cornerback from South Alabama. Okay, Darrell Luter. Enough said on that. South Alabama. Did he face any competition? Guys,
you roasting colleges.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, come on.
If you're not from Texas, screw off.
Yeah, I'm saying, like what are they doing? Y'all want to compete for Super Bowl or what? Like, are you tired of losing every time the conference championship? Like, this is not going to help you. You picked a random cornerback from South Alabama. Okay, great. Now a Georgia edge rusher. Okay, Robert Beal. I mean, okay, that's decent.
Bill.
Yeah, Beal.
Oh, Beal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was.
I was like, 2 first names. That's a big red flag.
No. Boston Scott.
And then
Boston's a first name.
And like I said, the Big Ten defense in terms of the front 7, like the defensive linemen and the linebackers, they're decent. But they picked a linebacker from TCU next, D. Winters. I mean, come on. Like, what are you guys doing?
You're
like, they don't care. Then they picked the Oklahoma tight end, Braden Willis. Never heard of him. Michigan receiver. I mean, they don't catch anything. Ronnie Bell. I mean, come on. What are y'all doing? They don't want to win. They don't want to win at this point. At this point, I was like, oh, they don't care about this. They don't care about this at all. Ronnie Bell. He probably caught 2 passes the whole year. 2. And then they picked a Purdy linebacker, Jalen Graham. Like, what are you guys doing? That was a waste. That was a complete waste.
You watched that TCU game. Ronnie Bell went off. You know it.
It's probably like a game.
You know it.
Everybody knows
against the Big 12 defense. Against the Big 12 defense, Jonathan, Ronnie Bell had so many freaking yards. He was over 100 yards and a touchdown.
That tells you how bad the TCU defense was, not how good Ronnie Bell was. You should know that. It's a Big 12.
You just
I said
who's good anymore? Who's good nowadays?
The SEC.
I don't know. In your mind, who's good?
SEC.
The SEC is the only thing.
Exactly. So 49ers.
So overall, you give them an F, straight F.
Look, 49ers' biggest need was offensive line, and they had 10 picks, and none of them were offensive line.
That's a pretty big need to just not touch.
Yeah.
All the others, like we talked about other stuff. Bad. That's really
That's tough, man.
I'll say I looked at Pro Football Focus. This is one source, and again, who knows, who cares? But they were the only C-, the 49ers were, that I could find, at least. Everyone, I mean, again, who knows? Most rankings I saw like across the consensus was most teams were obviously a handful of A+, a lot of A's, a lot of like mostly B's, and then like one C-. There was a C+, which it doesn't reflect my opinion, but it was the Cowboys. I just decided to say that. I couldn't find any lower grades.
Was it Eagles?
Again,
this
is Pro Football Focus.
That's not a reliable website. Yeah, what about the Dallas Star Morning News? What about that, huh?
I actually don't agree with the Cowboys one, but they also, the 49ers one. Actually, my worst, the T-Bet of the worst draft wasn't a bad draft, but it was the one that got slapped with I don't know, slapped on the wrist, but the Dolphins. They had 4 picks
because they got their first round pick taken away.
Yeah, so for what they did, in my understanding, again, I don't know much about the college players, but they were good players, but in context for how few the selection was and the punishment, like I definitely think the punishment did hurt the Dolphins. So in my opinion, I think they just had the worst one.
That's sad.
Which is, you know,
they did get
or at least the smallest one, which is in it. Yeah,
Devin
A-Chain.
He's good.
Yep.
They had good guys. Fast. Yeah. Well, they wanted more fast guys, you know, to add to Hill and stuff. But
and now all of a sudden, this guy's good from Texas.
They did get an offensive tackle and a tight end.
I'm saying the facts. No,
but when Tua's like concussed that much, I think they should have gotten more just like blocking.
Yeah, I thought about that for sure.
Or some
protect
insurance
him a little bit more.
Yeah, but again, maybe it's the worst because it's the smallest.
They
weren't bad players.
They picked up Mike White.
Okay,
interesting.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they got Ryan Hayes from Michigan. And Michigan won Offensive Line of the Year, so that's a great pick.
Big Ten has great linemen. Great linemen.
Yeah. But yeah, they drafted Mike White.
It'll be interesting.
Or not drafted. They selected Mike White free agency, which is like a good safety net backup quarterback.
I'll say the Falcons had a bad one too. If I had a tie like Jonathan, Dolphins in my opinion because it was so small, and the Falcons because I don't know what the vision with the Falcons is. Like I'm happy the Eagles got Carter. Bijan? I love Bijan, and he might be that generational running back talent. But like the Falcon, I didn't see. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably am because these officers know more than me. But I didn't see a vision that made sense because they already had one of the best rushing. They were not a great team last year, but their runs, like their yards per carry, the rushing attack was very good. And to use a pick when they could have, considering the talent that was available to them, they might have benefited more with Carter or someone like just what's going on. Like I don't understand what they're thinking, and maybe that's good. It's the art of war, deception, something. But
I slightly agree because if you're a rebuilding team, you don't even have your quarterback set in stone. I think running back was like the least.
Yeah, but the Giants
like,
did
you
that.
know that like the least of your worries.
The Giants picked Saquon without knowing like who their long-term quarterback was.
But Bijan ain't Saquon though. Saquon is generational.
He's
that was top
off. I mean,
Bijan's
pretty good. Yeah,
that's why it's not crazy. It's just I don't see a vision with what they're doing. And overall, maybe Falcons fans will roast me, but that's how I felt. I'm happy we got Carter, but they maybe should have gotten Carter if he turned pants out.
Yeah, I feel like Barkley went freaking top 3. I think he's way more of higher value than Bijan, but I think if you're the Falcons, it's like if I was a fan, I'd be like, okay, it's good, but like
it's exciting.
Hey, we need some more needs here. Like our defense was terrible. Like we have Kyle Pitts that we don't even use.
Right.
Offensive line. How about? I mean, he's not going to do anything if your offensive line's terrible.
No, the offensive line wasn't terrible. They had the best rushing attack. So
but yeah,
it's more the
best
defense and like receiver, I think.
So yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but that was one that I don't know. Just confused me.
What about your thoughts, John?
Mine is the Los Angeles Rams. Like we all know, the Rams went all in a few years ago, won the Super Bowl. So they didn't really have many picks, but they got an offensive guard from TCU with their first pick in the second round. And then I don't really know anybody else that they picked. The only reason I give them a D-. The only reason they didn't get an F is because, well, their first pick was that guard. Then they got Byron Young from Tennessee, a defensive end. Kobe Turner from Wake Forest, a D tackle. and where I think one of their bigger needs was cornerback, losing Jalen Ramsey, getting some help in the secondary. They didn't pick a cornerback until the 6th round. The only pick that I liked that they had was Stetson Bennett. 2 championships with Georgia, and I know Stafford's not going anywhere anytime soon, but in 2 or 3 years when Stafford's ready to call it quits, I think Bennett could be a guy that could sit behind and come in and provide something, give them maybe a chance down the line.
Yeah, see, out of all the quarterbacks they picked him, they could have picked Duggan. Max Duggan would have done better than him.
No.
Max Duggan has ran a fast-paced, all-pro spread offense. This guy has been at Georgia. Like, we know what Georgia does.
Did you see the plays he made? He didn't make any bad plays.
Because
he only on the quarterback.
They only ask him to throw the ball like 5 times a game.
No, he threw it a lot.
Come on, they just run the ball.
What?
Isn't Georgia schematically advanced? I saw some people saying that for the Eagles players transition to the Eagles, like it might be simpler.
They're good at stopping the run. They're good at running the ball. The Chargers' problems, they're experts at it. I don't think. Yeah, I think Stetson Bennett is a little bit overrated because he's won the championship. He's been on a great team. He's been in college for 15 years.
Dude, why does everyone make that? Can someone explain that? Why is he considered old?
He's only 3 years younger than Jared Goff, who got drafted in 2016.
How is that possible? What happened?
Dude, I have no idea.
How is he playing this? How old is he?
26. Hang on.
Well, don't you only have maybe 5 with COVID? But don't you only have 5 years of eligibility?
Yeah, I don't know how he did it,
but
he's 20.
Talking?
He's
28. That's a dream.
He's 25.
25.
He's 25 years old.
Fine.
Goff is 28, and he's been in the league since 2016.
Jonathan, let me just tell you, he had more passing yards than Duggan, and against Ohio State, he had 398 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And in the championship game, 304 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. And I'm pretty sure he had a rushing touchdown as well in both of them.
His rushing is his low-key value, in my opinion.
I like your evaluation, John, of these guys. Like just letting these potential good guys sit behind an already good.
Yeah.
There's such an impulse to throw these rookies right in the NFL. But like I talked about earlier, with if they perform on the biggest stage and won championships, it seems like it gives them. I think confidence is the hardest thing to get in the NFL, and that just helps. You can do it from any other organization, losing team, whatever. But seems like confidence in quarterbacks is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, and guys, I think you guys forget, being a quarterback in the NFL is way more tough than it is in college. That's why the highest quarterbacks struggle. I don't know what offense they run in Ohio, but it seems pretty simple based on how the quarterbacks perform in the NFL. You have to be really smart, have experience running a complex offense to really understand this game. And Stetson Bennett's been playing football for a long time. He's ran a simple offense in Georgia. They just hand the ball to the running back, touchdown. Hand the ball to the running back, touchdown. Defense makes the.
I just said he had awesome. 398 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was like a once in a lifetime thing. He's been playing.
Okay,
you didn't mention 2 games though. So.
Yeah, twice in a lifetime. So I just think Duggan. I think they did Duggan wrong on this, man.
Duggan is actually bad.
Didn't you roast Duggan? Who was? Oh no, it was Hooker.
Yeah,
yeah, that was the one. Sorry.
Duggan is bad. I mean, to run that offense at TCU, that's not easy. That's not easy at all.
You have Quentin Johnson.
Okay,
and the other slot guy, Davis. That's way better than anybody Georgia had.
Georgia has 3 dogs in running back.
All right, name them.
I don't know, but they're good.
Name their wide receivers.
Every year they're good.
They're wide receivers?
I mean, dude,
come on.
They only have 1 or 2 wide receivers. But again, he only throws the ball like 5 times a game. 90-yard touchdown. 90-yard touchdown. I mean, come on.
That's pretty good.
Eventually, everybody's trying to stop the run. They're like, okay, just let him throw it. Just let him throw it because the offensive tackles are good. The guards, the running backs, it's easy for him. So he's going to come to the NFL and see he actually has to throw the ball 30 times a game.
I don't think you'll have to worry. You'll never see Stetson Bennett in a game ever.
I
think you don't have to worry about that.
Duggan would have competed for that starting role. Stetson Bennett's not going to compete for it.
Yeah, you got to remember, Stetson Bennett had NIL money the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's
I don't think he
gets
a crap.
You guys are making me say it. I don't want to say it, but I guess we're going to have to look at this podcast in a few years from now.
Don't say it.
And we're going to come back to this moment, and you guys are going to be like, wow, John was right. Stetson Bennett is starting a game,
I hope
and he's
you're right.
actually not bad. Stafford's retired, and he's starting the game.
Stetson Bennett? Cornerback
Quarterback from Georgia.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of him, but 2 national championships.
So as we move on to steal of the draft, is that your steal of the draft?
Mine?
Yeah.
No, my steal of the draft is probably pretty obvious. I already kind of said it before. But it was Jalen Hyatt. I mean, for the Giants to get him where they got him in the 3rd round, 10th pick in the 3rd round, trading up, he won the award for best college wide receiver. And I mean, remember towards the end of the season, we were talking about him potentially being, a 1st round pick and being one of the top wide receivers taken off the board. And not only were we able to get Deonte Banks and a starting center for us, but we were able to wait until the 3rd round and then trade up and get a starting wide receiver. So, I mean, it's no bias at all. I mean, Giants just were able to get good value out of him.
Caleb?
You mentioned my steal of the draft earlier, Jared. I think you might agree.
personally did.
You did. I don't think you'd pick him, but it's actually the kicker, right? Is it Jake Moody? The 49ers guy.
Jonathan.
The one Jonathan roasted.
Oh, man.
Nice pick.
You already gave a lot of context to why, and he's one of your men, right? One of your boys.
Uh-huh.
I just like this is almost like a soft spot, but I like when the teams see something in a kicker. It doesn't always work out. My other pick would have been the Patriots' Chad Ryland kicker, because they went up, picking a kicker that high. They either think he's going to be the next Gostkowski or something, and maybe he is. That's why I think Moody. There was a story I read, I think from an article from the 49ers PR department, that Moody was in a pizza parlor somewhere in, I think, in Detroit. He ran into Matt Prater, who was his idol. And he was talking to Matt Prater, real excited in this random place. And the person, Matt Prater, was with someone, and he had to introduce himself mid-conversation. And that person that apparently Moody didn't quite get an interest in talking to right away was Calvin Johnson. So when your idol is Matt Prater, who was already great, I'm like, that's an interesting story.
Instead of Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson was like, I'm here too, man. Don't. So I was like, maybe that's I don't know, could be a good. Like John, you pointed out, they needed it, and it's a high. And they did have one of the worst ranks of the 49ers did, but I think that's a steal if he pans out.
Yeah, and you got rid of Robbie Gould.
Yeah, so it's
you don't really have to do any kicker competitions. You know that he's going to be the guy day one.
And he's clutch, so.
Very clutch. Very clutch. Wow. That really just made my night, Caleb. Thank you for
I'm glad
you for
you took
saying
a lot of
that.
hits from certain members of this podcast.
I mean, they should have waited a little later. Just a little later. Why did they pick him so soon? I mean, that was too soon. But,
fair enough. I fair enough. You never know who wanted Moody. You never know. He was the best.
It's poker, so.
Jonathan, do you have your steal of the draft? You want me to go?
You can go.
Okay, my steal of the draft is, and it hurts me as a Michigan fan, it hurts me. It's Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame.
Really?
I dislike Notre Dame to the highest degree, but Michael Mayer is a very, very good tight end, and I cannot deny it. Some may say he was number one tight end with the other Utah guy. I think he was number one. I personally saw him play this year in Syracuse. He faced Syracuse, and he killed us. He had a catch literally right in my zone where I was sitting. High point catch down to the one, and it was crazy. I mean, he's so big, and he can jump so high. I think from where the Raiders got him, which was 2nd round, and the Lions picked Laporta, tight end, right before him. So I think it was just a gift that Michael Mayers just fell down in their lap, the number one guy, and they get him 3rd off the board. And I think for the Raiders, it's a perfect fit because they lost Waller. And I feel like he just goes right into that starting spot and is going to be able to produce right away. So not only was it great value, but it's a great scenario. And John, I don't know if you've thought this far about fantasy football, but I feel like I have a dynasty league and we're going to draft rookies. I think he may be my tight end that I draft, Michael Mayer, because you got to remember Jimmy G. I looked up; he's thrown the most passes to Kittle more than any receiver that he's been with at the 49ers. Kittle has been the guy, so he already loves tight ends, and he throws to Kittle because he's good. If Mayer can right out the gate make a good impression on Garoppolo, that's going to be his guy, and that's been the 49ers offense for years, and I think Garoppolo may still have that kind of in his mind as he goes with the Raiders. It seems like too perfect of a fit that just fell right in their lap. They got the top guy, second round, third tight end off the board. So that is my steal. My second one I'll name after we go around because I want to make sure no one picks it.
Interesting.
So
I would say my steal is Rashee Rice from SMU.
Oh, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, exactly. This guy,
Caleb, look up highlights of this guy, Rashee Rice. He looks exactly like Ayuk.
Oh, it's
yeah.
This Kansas picked him. Oh, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes knows what he's doing. He's in the Dallas area all the time. SMU's in Dallas, obviously, and he basically convinced him to pick Rashee Rice. This guy, if you look at his highlights in SMU, he's pretty reliable. And that's what Patrick Mahomes needs. He needs reliable receivers that will catch the ball anytime he throws it to him, able to get open, and this guy's able to do it. He was the leading receiver in SMU. He helped their team have some relevance nationally, so that was great over the past few seasons. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes saw greatness in him. He, actually trained with him over the past year or so and told his coaches and his players, hey, this guy's really good. We probably should pick him up. And he actually called him on draft night, let him know that, hey, we're picking you.
Patrick Mahomes did?
Yeah, there's like a video. He's showing the camera. It says Pat Mahomes.
I was wondering why it was Mahomes doing the call, but that context explains it. Because I was like, man, he's really like a coach
cool.
now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But that is kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty awesome. So it's that Texas connection. I mean, I'm not trying to be biased, but for some reason, a lot of these guys from Texas seem to be pretty good.
Just accept.
I'm kidding.
Accept the bias. It's fine.
I'm kidding. And so, yeah, I think it's still. I mean, SMU is not. It's a pretty good school, D1, but it's not like a huge, big, Power 5 school.
Mid-major.
Right. Yeah. And so that's why I say it's a steal. Like a lot of teams probably don't realize his talent, but he's talented, and you'll see it in the next level.
Yeah. Anybody else want to mention anything before we hop off?
I mean, we already mentioned Deuce Vaughn. That's gonna be a steal as well.
Yep.
Or that's a steal, but you're gonna see how great he is this year.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that.
Do you know how short he actually is?
Yeah, I think it's 5'5".
5'5".
I mean, he may be 5'4". He may just list 5'5".
He might be.
I was just gonna say
5'3". They might have bumped it up.
Exactly.
There's no limit.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? People lie about their height all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically 6 foot, but I say 6 foot. I'm 5'11", 3/4.
Doesn't.
But I still say 6 foot.
I'm 5'8.5", but I say 5'9".
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine.
That's half an inch.
I would absolutely. It's confidence, right? Like I would absolutely date someone way taller than me.
Wait, now we're going into dating. Okay.
See, on Tinder, I put myself as 5 foot. That way, when I see her in person, she's like, "Whoa, okay, he's way taller than I expected."
Under promise, over
Have you
deliver.
gotten any matches so far with that tactic?
It's about confidence. It's about what you bring to the
Caleb,
table.
you would date somebody
Yeah.
taller than you?
Yeah, same way I draft a running back who's 5 whatever. Like, it's the same energy.
I mean, you get surgery now to get a little taller, right? I mean,
I'm not
somebody
gonna
that did
do
it.
that.
You saw that? Somebody gained like 3 inches.
I did see
Somebody
that. Dude,
somebody,
I wonder
That's
if college
probably
players
so
would use
painful.
that college money and then take a year off to get, you know what I mean? So no one can say like, "Oh, you're short."
Yeah.
I heard that Kenny Pickett, he was on a podcast. He said he would sleep with like a stint that would extend his hand, and he would sleep like this. and it was like a form of trying to grow your hand
Oh,
because during the
shit.
draft they were like, his hands are too small to play quarterback, and like he tried to extend it as much as he could before the combine.
Interesting. I
Is
bet
that
that's a real
crazy?
thing.
Yeah.
It's like those cultures that like either wear neck rings that slowly expand the neck, or the foot, like they contort the foot like ballerinas and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's possible.
Maybe Stroud should take a note from that and try to become smarter so he tests
Just
better.
sleep.
Yeah.
I don't.
Listen to some
This has
podcasts
gone off
or
the rails.
something.
This has gone off the rails.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, and we will see you guys on the next episode.